Hi, my name is Peter Hinson. I'm the founder of NextWorks. How do you build a culture of an organization that is capable of constantly challenging and reinventing itself? And if you look at the situation today, you see a lot of these unicorns that we talked about in the last couple of years that are now themselves maturing and becoming very, very big and sometimes very traditional organizations. When you would walk into a Facebook or a Google or an Amazon 10 years ago, they would often look down at the old companies, the General Electrics and the General Motors, who were so old and rigid and structured. And they were the hip new kids on the block. The fascinating thing now is that these new kids on the block are themselves turning into really big, very structured, and sometimes very boring organizations. If you walk into a Google, they are terrified of becoming the next General Electric or General Motors. And what is interesting is what they're trying to do to keep that culture alive, their entrepreneurial, risk-taking type of cultural dimension of constantly rethinking and challenging themselves. One of the words you constantly hear in an organization like Google is psychological safety. And what does psychological safety mean? It basically means the capacity, the capability of an organization to keep on experimenting, to be open-minded for new ideas. And it turns out, just as any other company, even the Googles are struggling with that. It was easy when they were small, but the bigger they get, the more organized, the more structured, it becomes really difficult to keep people still open-minded about new ideas and especially willing to try and experiment. Psychological safety. Another dimension of that is cognitive diversity. Cognitive diversity, we've talked about diversity for a long time. It was about gender diversity or ethnic diversity, but cognitive diversity is how can you put enough people with different points of view, with different lenses into the room to think about new opportunities. And you know what? If you put people in the room who've all had an MBA, you're going to come up with the same results. Duh. Cognitive diversity and psychological safety are clearly linked. And what can you do as an organization to maximize both? That you have maximum cognitive diversity and push out towards more and more psychological safety. Now, it's easy to do that if you're Google and you have $100 billion coming in every year. But in most organizations, you also have to tie that to the third element, which is accountability. You want to make sure that it's not just about being free to think about new things and enough ideas in the room. You also want to make sure that it ties down to the bottom line. Those dimensions of culture, I think, are going to be crucial. How do you build organizations that are ready for the future, ready for uncertainty, and ready for the day after tomorrow, with a maximum amount of psychological safety, with a maximum amount of diversity in terms of cognitive capabilities, but above all, making sure that it really, really fuels the bottom line in accountability. That is building the culture for the day after tomorrow.